the Frog Prince. Super cute. So it looks like a maze. I've never read this. Princess Clara was bored. "I've got nothing to do," she moaned. "Read a story," suggested the Queen. "Sort your stamp collection out," said the King. "No, I want somebody to play with, somebody my own age," said the Princess. "Well, you're a very lucky girl then," laughed the King. "Prince Carl is coming on Thursday. His mummy and daddy are going away." It's spelled mummy, M-U-M-M-Y. So it must be from England. On Thursday, it was raining. That was a good thing because Clara, see, this is why life's made me nervous. On Thursday, it was raining. That was a good thing because Clara and Carl could jump in puddles. Then they climbed the pear tree in the castle gardens and each ate a lovely, juicy pear. "I'm glad you came to stay," said Clara. "So am I," said Carl. "At home, I'm hardly allowed to do anything. Mummy and Daddy worry all the time. They think something terrible will happen to me if I get too happy." "Why would they think that?" "Because a fairy said so when I was little," Carl answered. "When I was born, my daddy invited the fairies of the forest to a party. The first fairy gave me my singing voice. Oh, it doesn't say that. The second one made me able to wiggle my ears." I can do that. See that? "But when the third fairy was about to leave her gift, Daddy laughed and whispered, 'Oh no, that one looks like a right frog.' She wasn't supposed to hear it, but unfortunately, she did." "Was she upset?" "Of course, she got really angry and said we had better watch out. For just when we were about to be at our happiest, misfortune will strike." "Oh, that's horrible." "Nah, it's just one of those things people say when they're angry. As you can see, nothing has happened. Let's play something else," said Carl. So they're hanging out, eating some pears. Gotta eat your fruit. What are they doing here? That's the fairies that brought the gifts. And I'm guessing she's in there. Interesting. Princess Clara and Prince Carl played every day. They played bowling with the king's golden apple. They made funny faces in the castle mirrors and swung from the big crystal chandeliers. When they got too hot, the prince simply flapped his ears to fan them. It's hilarious. They laughed ever such a lot. That's what it says. But then the king came along and put his finger to his lips. "Calm down a bit," he said. "Carl's mummy and daddy said that you can have fun, but not too much fun. And what you're doing definitely sounds like too much fun to me." "Let's go outside instead," said Clara. "Good idea," said the Queen. "You can go for a nice quiet walk." So there he is. He's like, how cute. And playing bowling with apples. Bowling with apples. That's a new fun game to try to play. Go find some apples and start bowling. But Carl and Clara did not go for a walk. They laid down in the grass and looked at the clouds instead. "What's the point of living if you can't play?" asked Clara. That's so true. "What's the point of playing if you can't have fun?" said Carl. "Do you want to hear a song?" Clara certainly did, because no one could sing like Carl. When he sang, all the animals of the forest stopped and listened. The squirrel wiped away a tear with his tail. The owl tilted its head to one side, and the rabbit wiggled its ears in time with the rhythm. Everybody was happy, and nobody noticed the black cloud creeping over them up in the sky. "Aha, Prince Carl, so this is where you are," sighed the cloud, "and you certainly look very happy. Remember what I said, misfortune will be with you soon." But the children didn't hear that. So that cloud looks like a lizard. They're hanging out. They must have a lot of pear. Oh, he's wiping his tear. The squirrel wiping his tear with his tail. So cute. So tall. The next day, Clara and Carl were playing hide and seek. "Your turn to seek," shouted Carl, and he ran off while Clara closed her eyes and counted to 100. "Too-wit, too-woo," hooted the owl as Carl rushed by. "Be careful. Remember, this is the fairy tale forest." But the prince's mind was on other things. He got down and hid behind a mossy rock. What a good hiding place, he thought. He sat there giggling, imagining how long it would take Clara to find him. And when she finally did find him behind the rock, she would shout, "Oh, there you are!" And they would dance around with happiness because they were together again. "I don't think I could ever be happier than I am right now," Prince Carl said to himself. But just as he was saying those words, the dark cloud came down into the forest and wrapped him up in a big, damp fog. "Ha, ha, ha," came a husky, murmuring laugh. "Clara," the prince tried to shout, but all that came out was a quack. And then there's the cloud. Got him. They tried to warn him. Can you see? Clara looked for the prince all day. "This isn't fun at all," she shouted. "Come out now." But Prince Carl was gone. And even though the king sent out his best scouts and his best tracking dogs, they could not find a single trace of the missing prince. "Oh, such misfortune! What will his parents say? You weren't having too much fun, were you?" groaned the king. "Yes, we were," said Clara. "But you have to be able to have fun." And she disappeared off to her room and cried because she was angry in Mr. Friend. After a while, she felt a warm little nose on her cheek. It was a mouse with a red woolly hat. "Don't cry," said the mouse. "We will go and find your friend tomorrow. I have been in lots of fairy tales, so I will help you, as long as I can have a piece of cheese." Well, I think the book is about broken. I'm not sure what happened. So this little mouse, he came. He's like, "I'll do what you want, but girl, you gotta give me a piece of cheese." Oh. Making me blush. The next day, Clara and the mouse set off into the fairy tale forest. The first person they met was a little girl with a red riding hood. "Hello," said the mouse. "Are you off to your grandmother's house with some biscuits?" "Yes, I am," said the girl, "and I'm in a bit of a hurry because I have to meet a wolf on the way. Is there something I can help you with?" "I'm looking for Prince Carl," said Clara. "Have you seen him or heard him? He has a lovely singing voice." "Singing voice, you say? I think you should ask the musicians." Before the little girl rushed off, she gave Clara a biscuit from her basket. "This biscuit is called a dream." "That's what I call him too," said the little girl. "I hope it will be a nice dream." Well, if this is in England, a biscuit may mean a cookie. It kind of looks like a cookie. Oh, I spotted the wolf. Is that the wolf? Yep, see his teeth. Uh-oh. She better watch her back. The musicians lived in a house made of sweets and biscuits. When the mouse and the prince came along, they were busy playing. The donkey was braying, the cat was meowing, the dog was barking, and I'm guessing this is a chicken, was crowing his heart out. "Did you call that music?" asked the prince once they had stopped. "Well," smiled the donkey, "we know it sounds terrible, but it is fun. And fun is, after all, what's most important. What can we do for you?" "We are looking for Prince Carl. I cannot be happy without him," replied Clara. Can it be true?" crowed the crow. "Woof, woof, would you believe it? She has done it again," said the dog. "What? Who?" wondered the princess. "The wicked fairy," meowed the cat. "Just yesterday, she was flying over our house in the shape of a cloud. She told us to stop playing, otherwise she'd turn us into something else, just like she had done with a certain giggling prince." "So it is her," said the mouse. "Where is she?" "I haven't a clue," said Donkey. "But ask the hare and the hedgehog. They are sure to know, the way they run around. You can ride on me if you'd like." So there's the little house. Looks delicious. And there's the helpful little fellas there. The hare and the hedgehog were resting amongst the oak trees. They had been racing. "What can we do for you?" asked the hare. "Would you like to have a race?" "No," said Clara. "We're looking for the wicked fairy. Do you know where she lives? When I was out running, I heard someone snoring in the cave by the pond, and no one snores quite horribly as the wicked fairy. It must have been her," said the hare. "But how will you ever be brave enough to go there?" asked the hedgehog in a scared voice. "She can turn you into anything she likes." "Maybe while she's sleeping," said the hare. "She usually takes a nap around this time. I'll run over and take a look." And quick as a flash, he was off. "The wicked fairy talks in her sleep when she dreams," said the hedgehog. "Go and listen, and you might hear something interesting." "She's sleeping like a log," puffed the hare, who was already back. Wow, dude is fast. There's a donkey. Okay, there's a hedgehog and a rabbit. Clara and the mouse rode on the donkey. As they got nearer, he was not brave enough to go any further, but Clara and the mouse were. Now they stood inside the cave and looked at the wicked fairy, who was sleeping deeply. "Gosh, she looks really scary," whispered the princess. "She certainly does. And she is not saying anything either," squeaked the mouse. "She's just snoring." So Clara took out the biscuit the little girl with the Red Riding Hood had given her. "Maybe this will help. It's called a dream, after all." Carefully, the princess pushed the biscuit into the sleeping fairy's mouth. The sound was the sound the fairy made as she breathed the dream in, and straight away she started dreaming. "Ha ha ha! That silly prince will have to catch flies with his tongue for the rest of his life. He's a frog now, and a frog he will stay." The fairy chuckled, very pleased with herself. Wow. She got that stool all weird. She must need to keep her legs elevated. She must have something. Well, at that, Clara got so angry that she tweaked the fairy's nose as hard as she could. "You rotten wicked fairy, you!" the princess shouted. "Make Carl into a boy again." The wicked fairy suddenly opened her yellow eyes. "Never," she sneered. "The only thing that can break the spell is if somebody recognizes him." "But how could that possibly ever happen? There are thousands of frogs, and you are only allowed one try." Look at all these frogs. Can you see all that? And you get one try? Oof. The moon was shining over the lily pond. This was where the frogs gathered every evening, eating flies, mosquitoes, and croaking as frogs do. "So where's your little friend then?" teased the fairy. Clara looked at many different frogs, but they all looked the same. She stopped at one who was smiling and staring at her with big, friendly eyes. "Is that—" she began. She was about to say Carl when she heard a croak that sounded different to all the others. It was such a beautiful croak that it made Clara's heart jump, just like a little frog inside of her. There, on a stone, a little way off, a frog sat singing so beautifully that the dragonflies were still and the mosquitoes stopped buzzing. The princess rushed up to the frog, bent down, and gave it a kiss. "Carl!" she cried out happily. Here's a big moon. All of a sudden, the wicked fairy turned into a cloud that blew away, and the frog turned into Carl. He lifted her up and danced around and said, "Thank you, Clara. Now, at last we can play as much as we like." And the mouse threw its head in the air and shouted, "Hooray!" And from that day on, Clara and Carl lived as happily as they wanted to forever after. When they got hot, the prince flapped his ears to fan them. And when they got tired of playing, he sang just as beautifully as always. And every now and then, he gave a little croak. But they just giggled about that. She saved him. His beautiful singing voice saved him. That's so cool. And that's it. I just wanted to read a book. And maybe if you got children out of school right now and they like listening to people read, you can show them this video if you want to. Okay, I'm going to go now because I don't know what else to say. So, goodbye.